Welcome back to this installment of What's Up. What's Up is a series where I review the last 2 weeks of what I've done, be it reading, binging, watching, and playing. So, I'm Kim, and this is Tranquil Dreams. Um, as usual, we're going to start with a rundown of what I've seen, and then I'm going to do little highlights of things that I want to talk about a little bit more specifically. For all the full reviews, you can find it gradually released on the blog, klling.wordpress.com. You're going to see it in the description below and in the ending card of this video. So if you haven't already and you enjoy this video, give me you can subscribe to the channel and it help me out a lot. Drop some comments, tell me what you're playing and reading and watching, binging, that sort of thing. I'd really love to hear all about it, read all about it, and maybe it'll give me some recommendations as to what I can look at next. So without further ado, let's begin. So one of the main things, probably one of the easiest ones to go through this time, is the last 2 weeks I haven't been binging much. I've actually finished off Gilmore Girls last time, so I finished off the series of Unfortunate Events Season 2, which was a rewatch. I still haven't gotten the TV binge up. I went back to watch a Taiwanese TV series, which is called Miss Rose. Miss Rose has Roy Chu, which was in Easy Fortune Happy Life. I believe that's the name of the TV series that I had looked at before with him. This one is a little bit later from that one, I believe, and it's a really cute series, kind of generic for the Taiwanese market, but I really enjoy it. I'm still watching it. At the point I'm recording, I'm about 2 episodes till the ending, so I had to take a break from that binge in order to record this, obviously. It's full of very fun moments, cute moments. It has all these very romantic and funny little things that go on. If you're a Taiwanese TV series sort of fan, then you're definitely going to have a little bit of enjoyment out of it. It's really specific to the audience, I think. That's why probably I'm noticing that a lot of the newer TV series now that I've been catching on Netflix is really based on, and like the demographic is targeted to older audiences. So they're talking about people who are in offices and working. Whereas back when I was watching TV series, a lot of times it was about in high school or college or something. And I wonder if it has to do that maybe the newer generation doesn't appreciate Taiwanese series as much as my generation, which watches it and still watch it. I don't know. It's a fun little thing that maybe I can look at eventually, see who actually still watches this. I personally still enjoy it a lot. Moving on. Reading wise, last time I talked about that I had started reading The Things We Learn When We're Dead. And I talked about how it was a little, it was interesting and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Now, obviously, I've already put the review up on the blog and I'll have it in the description below. The Things We Learn When We're Dead, I really enjoyed it. I think if you are into belief of God and very religious, maybe you might not as much. It depends, because it gives a very creative take of our belief in God and who God is. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but it pretty much takes the angle that it's a quirky little creative angle of using God as just he's pretty much an alien species stranded in the outer limits of Earth, and this person who dies learns about this world that she's sent to in a way, and it's very creative, and it takes a little bit of time to get into, I find, in the beginning, but there are a lot of mysteries to find. The world is really nice. The characters are very interesting to read and intriguing. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was the pacing was well after it picked up, and I would recommend anybody who likes some sort of quirky ideas, creative takes on things, who don't mind these creative spins on events, to give it a shot, obviously. As what I'm currently reading, I am reading The Phoenix Cycle. I was supposed to be part of a blog tour this week, but due to unforeseen circumstances and the fact that I'm having a hard time getting into it, I took a little break from the book. The review will go up very soon, probably in a week or two. I just need some time to maybe give it a second chance. I think that there are some very good ideas in The Phoenix Cycle. It's just not a typical type of book that I read, so I find it a little bit overwhelming. It gave me a little bit of a feeling of when I was reading the first book of Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire or whatever. That it was a world and it was a lot of characters to take in, a lot of things were going on, and it's fairly political, and there's a lot of action, so it's for people who really enjoy that sort of dystopian world, dystopian sci-fi sort of world. It could be a really cool book to read. It's just not really my wheelhouse, so I'm gonna give it a second shot for sure. Take a break and get back to it instead of binge reading it. That was probably not the best idea for this book. Moving on, I actually took a little break and I headed back into a series that I had read in the beginning. I read the first book, and it's Kings, I believe the first book is called, and it's part of the Kings trilogy. So I'm reading the second book right now, and it's called King for a Day. It's a very interesting take. I've been using so many times interesting. When I read Kings, I really enjoyed it. It gave me a lot of surprises because of the fact that you expect it to go in a certain maybe kind of more sensual way of treating this sort of relationship that these two people have. But it turns out that it's a much deeper personality. The characters have a lot of depth to them, and there's a lot more to learn, and there's a lot more of a fight for control, and it's just very intriguing characters and that sort of thing. And I find that I just started this book today, and I am still really enjoying diving back into this world, and I actually might pick up the third one to finish off the trilogy right after I finish this one, if this one ends up being keeping the pace that it has right now. So that's it for books. So moving on to what I've been watching, and this list is immense. Suffice to say, I've been watching a lot of watching and rewatching and choosing movies that I thought would be a little bit easier to deal with, just so that I can multitask and edit and catch up with a lot of work. So I watched, as a rundown, I watched Perfect Girl, Honey 2, Soldier, Resident Evil, A Cinderella Story If the Shoe Fits, Burlesque, and today I finished watching The Hunting Ground. I'm not really sure what stands out in this. Obviously, Soldier was our last Movies and Tea podcast, which was also part of the Kurt Russell Blogathon hosted by Return to the 80s and Real Widgie Midget Reviews. I enjoyed the movie to a certain extent. I haven't seen a lot of Kurt Russell movies as the podcast. If you listen to the podcast, you'll see. I'll give a link in the description below as well. Resident Evil, we're doing the entire franchise that was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, except 2 of them. So we're generally going to look at the story as the next thing that's going to go on. So I ended up watching the first one. I'm catching up with all the other ones in the following, probably the next time you're going to see the whole list of it go down. Other than that, Burlesque is a rewatch. I always enjoy watching it. For the music and the dancing, I love the Burlesque world. I think the outfits are incredible. The songs are really fun. And, I mean, Christina Aguilera and Cher has amazing pipes. So they They create some really nice moments. I go back to this one every once in a while, as maybe it's considered a little bit of a guilty pleasure for myself. Last, I think the movie I would like to highlight is more of a documentary, and that's The Hunting Ground. And I'm not much of a documentary person, but I thought The Hunting Ground highlighted a really important issue. And I reviewed Perfect Girl recently, which is Perfect Girl 2014. It's a Singaporean romantic comedy. It's in English, which I like the take of how they took it, where it was focusing on just two people, and there was a lot of inner monologuing. It was kind of funny in some ways. It worked in this really quirky indie way. I really don't think it's for everyone, but for myself, I really like something like this because it takes away a lot of the goofy genericness of the Hollywood romantic comedies, and this kind of like dials it down to a much more genuine experience between two people. And I thought that it worked for what it was trying to achieve, especially for something that's roughly just a little bit over an hour long. So it was a very quick experience, and it was a nice dive into understanding two people and how they viewed their first love and how they wanted their first love to be something more when they met that person again in life. Finally, we're gonna head into what I've been playing in terms of games, and not so much has been going on. I've been hitting a slump, trying to catch up with a lot of editing, just trying to catch up with writing, and dealing with a lot of behind the scene things that are going on. And with that said, I did manage to I've been working on the mobile game roundup for May, so I'm putting that together. One of the games that I've recently launched on the Play Store, and I've been playing, is Zoe Interactive Story. It's kind of a werewolf, supernatural kind of story. And I'll have the review go up then. I also started Super Lucky's Tale, and my first Xbox exclusive game that I've played. Thanks to Windows 10, obviously, having that upgrade, I finally am able to be able to play Xbox games, which is great, because Super Lucky's Tale is the one that I've been wanting to play ever since I saw it. It's been a really cute experience watching a little fox, and all the villains are cats. It's a really nice experience. And other than that, I've been playing Andera on my mobile game emulator. It's pretty much a mobile game, but I know that the first episode is free on a lot of different platforms as well. Andera is kind of a nice little take on puzzle games. There's a lot of cinematics. It was a really exceptional experience, I find. There's a good deal of story. The puzzles are very, very... there's a whole variety of different puzzles for you to solve and to compile and put together. And for a first episode that was free, it was over an hour long. So it's really worth it to give it a shot if you aren't sure whether you like it or not. And I think that that's a really nice approach to deciding whether someone should want to buy the rest of the game. Thanks again, and if you enjoyed, remember to give the video a like, and drop and subscribe, or follow me on Twitter, or all sorts of things. It would really, really help me to just get some feedback. I'm still trying to make this series and restructure it into something that I'm happy with. And hopefully you are enjoying this series as much as I am enjoying doing it. With that said, thanks again for watching, and I will see you all soon.